Today, I'd like to talk to you about dual certified personnel in remote location environments. My name is Jamie Rogers. I'm the VP of Operations with Western Protection Alliance. So by dual certified personnel, I'm referring to security and first aid trained personnel. So they are trained in both disciplines and they're able to switch between those disciplines depending upon the need. This is a very well-suited skill set for remote location environments, and I'd like to explain a little bit about why that's so. Let me start off by talking about a typical security setup. Commonly in remote location environments, security personnel will provide two functions: access control and policy enforcement. Access control can be as simple as logging all movement through a control point, be it a gate or entrance to a project. And policy enforcement consists of enforcing all policies that are active within that project. The second role, as a standalone function, first aid. Typically, the first aid attendant would wait until there's an incident, or if it's in a clinical setup, they would have somebody come in for a Band-Aid or a Tylenol. Both of these disciplines functioning independently are fine. However, they tend to be viewed as somebody that's not doing a lot. So quite typically, a first aid attendant will sit in their room or sit in their MTC unit, that's a mobile transport vehicle, for extended periods of time waiting for something to happen. Security personnel, on the other hand, similar type of impression that's conveyed. They're sitting at an access control point or in a vehicle, or they're waiting for someone to come through, or they're waiting for an incident, or they're patrolling. Typically, it's not looking like they're doing a lot in value add for the client. However, if you combine these two disciplines under one hat, security trained personnel that are also trained in first aid, typically the level of first aid would be OFA 3, which is now known as advanced first aid for most remote location environments. When they're dual certified and an incident happens, be it a security incident or be it a first aid incident, they're able to quickly switch hats and focus on that particular need. An example, somebody at the front gate doing access control, security person, which is typically close to a highway or an access road. Somebody comes up to the security personnel and lets them know that there's been an accident, a rollover on the road. Now, if that's only a security person, that person then has to contact the first aid from the site, which could be some ways away, and that person would have to come down and potentially help as immediate assistance to that rollover that's close to the gate. Now, with dual certified personnel, that security person can lock that gate up or have their coworker man the gate and quickly attend the accident scene. That's a simple scenario that sort of clarifies the value of having both of these disciplines within one employee. So the added value of being able to change roles on the fly is rather obvious, and you could apply it to many potential scenarios. You could reverse it and have somebody who's attending a first aid situation, and then all of a sudden there's a security concern. They can quickly change hats and go and attend to that. In addition to that, both of these disciplines are well versed in reporting. So oftentimes, if there's a first aid incident, the first aid personnel will have to convey their reports to the security personnel, who would in turn convey that up to the management of the site. However, if you have one person doing both of those roles, there's less chance of there being any sort of dilution of the reporting at that point. So taking this into consideration, if you're looking for security personnel for your project, having the consideration of also having them trained or dual certified, as we say, in first aid and security personnel, there's a lot of value added to having that type of employee. And typically, this is a very common combination of roles that's utilized in the mining industry. If you'd like more information, please feel free to reach out to me directly at rogers@westernalliance.ca, or alternatively, you can call me directly at 604-271-7475, and feel free to like and subscribe.